Democrats' phones are ringing off the hook. They're all asking each other, have you seen him? Are you going? If you are, when? Democrats all want to meet Kilmar Garcia, a verified member of MS-13 who broke into our country and then beat up his wife. And the beating's on video, she claims. One Democrat tells Axios, we got 24/7 calls on it this week, more than any other topic. That means Democrats aren't calling senators about tariffs, Signalgate, or egg prices. All they want to do is empty a mega prison into Maryland. Senator Van Hollen's getting a little lonely in El Salvador. He's the only one who's ever tried to break into a prison.
Today's purpose was just to see what his health condition is. And these soldiers were ordered to prevent us from going any farther from this spot. I understand we're about 3 kilometers now from CCOT. And as you can see, they're letting other cars go by, but they stopped us because they're under orders not to allow us to proceed.
An MS-13 terrorist whose wife says he punches her in the face, and our politicians fly 3,000 miles to check on his health. Who cares? Has Van Hollen ever cared this much about an American? Has he ever gone this far for anyone? Ladies, get a guy who cares about you the way Van Hollen cares about MS-13. Van Hollen wouldn't even stand up for black kids with cancer. He walked out of Trump's State of the Union. Van Hollen voted against the Laken Riley Act. And now the esteemed senator from Maryland is demanding a caravan of Democrats descend into El Salvador and break an illegal out of prison like he's Nelson Mandela.
I may be the first member of Congress here, the first senator, but I can assure you more will be coming. And you cannot continue to keep this man locked up in this worst prison in El Salvador and one of the worst in the hemisphere.
Spartacus is booking a first-class flight, and Tampon says if you don't fight for MS-13 rights, you're next.
This whole thing with Mr. Abrego Garcia, it's that old wisdom and terrifying is if you're not speaking up for this man, there will be no one left to speak up for you.
Tampon wants Trump behind bars and MS-13 walking free. MSNBC thinks Garcia is a political prisoner and wants Democrats outside the mega prison around the clock.
The Democrats should have someone on the ground in El Salvador every day until Kilmar Abrego Garcia is sent home. They need to start thinking about doing things that are more disruptive, things that are different. And I think that kind of creativity is necessary in a moment like this, where the old tactics and the old strategies that have not served the party particularly well recently, they need to be abandoned in favor of something new and more disruptive and more guerrilla style than what we're used to.
Martha Stewart's got to be like, I was in prison, no one visited me, and I'm an American. Minnie Madoff bought the midterms for the Democrats. He went to jail. Not a single Democrat checked in on his health condition. He didn't even get a conjugal visit. Democrats just stepped in the biggest booby trap since the Jussie Smollett hoax. One Democrat screaming, Trump is setting a trap for us. Maybe that doesn't matter in a Democrat plus 30 district, but you're not going to see any frontliners down in El Salvador. The president of El Salvador should open the prison and let Democrats visit. Let them take photos with Garcia. It'll be in every Republican attack ad next year. Maryland residents have seen enough. They're telling Democrats, abort the mission. One Maryland congressman says, I'll be candid. I've got people in my district who would be okay with sending these guys out. MSNBC says these gang members should sue Trump for slander.
Many of these people are being defamed by Trump TV, defamed by the president, defamed by Pam Bondi, defamed and being labeled things that they may not be. And in the case of Abrego Garcia, they're taking a baseball hat, and saying he's a terrorist because he's wearing a baseball hat. Who's crazy?
Trump can't call an illegal alien gang member MS-13, but Meekin can call Trump a Nazi? Okay. Nazi young Sheldon Whitehouse says we should pay MS-13 damages.
The judge says this was outrageous. What you've done violated an existing court order. It lied to me. You've dissembled to the court. You violated your oaths as lawyers. and you put this person in terribly grave peril. So I'm going to put the government under a civil contempt sanction of $1 million a day until he comes back. So there you go. Add up the millions. Oh, and by the way, I'll consider awarding some of that to the victim if this isn't solved.
Every illegal heard that and said, can you please wrongfully deport me too? Garcia fits right in down there. Have you seen his tats?
I talked to an MS-13 expert today who also showed me pictures of his hand, where he says absolutely the tattoo on one of his hands was absolutely an MS-13 gang tattoo, nothing questionable about it. 2 judges said he's an MS-13 member. ICE says he's an MS-13 member. Intelligence community says he's an MS-13 member. El Salvador says he's an MS-13 member.
Garcia was arrested in a gang sweep in connection to a murder investigation in a frequent gang area with 3 active members of MS-13. Informants told police Garcia was an active member of MS-13 with the Westerns clique. And when they scooped him up this year, they showed him photos of him on camera with other members of MS-13. You don't think police did surveillance before they picked him up? Wait until those pictures come out. Police say there's no doubt.
You've looked at the evidence. Are you convinced, as the White House says, he's an MS-13 member?
Oh, 1,000%. Yes, indeed. 1,000%.
1,000.
No doubt. Not only that, no doubt. And he's a domestic violence abuser. Kudos on the Trump administration for removing a criminal. Horrible on Senator Van Hollen for wanting to bring him back.
Not only was he gang-tied and interrogated over human and drug smuggling, in 2022, Homeland Security said he was a suspect in a human trafficking incident after he was pulled over with 8 other individuals in the vehicle. This is in Tennessee. Garcia told police he was driving for 3 days from Texas to Maryland, but there was no luggage in the car. He said he was just bringing in people to perform construction work. Texas to Maryland, kind of a long commute to work. Garcia was driving on an expired driver's license in someone else's car. Cops asked him, whose car is it? Garcia said, my boss, in construction. Police asked the passengers their addresses, and they all gave Garcia's address. But Garcia lived in Maryland, and they were coming from Texas. When cops asked everybody to write down their names, the officer couldn't read their handwriting because they just scribbled chicken scratch. But cops just let Garcia off with a warning for driving on an expired license, which is weird because he was flagged on a transnational organized crime watch list. Yeah, Democrats' favorite political prisoner is on a transnational organized crime watch list. Why would police let a guy like that, who's on a watch list, off on a warning when he's obviously caught red-handed human trafficking? Unless this came down from an order from above, Tennessee Highway Patrol has some explaining to do. And Primetime FOIA'd the body cam, so stay tuned. Legendary Democrat strategist James Carville, who's lost his marbles, says, forget ordinary people. Democrats should go to bat for foreign traffickers.
People say, well, should we really fight on this turf, or should we fight more on ordinary people? And this we should fight on. You can't pivot to an economic hit. So wait a minute. This is why we think we're a country. There's real wisdom in it. And history has taught us that. And first they came for him, and then we're going to say no right there. We got to keep fighting this. I think this is worthy of being on the top agenda of things that we're going to fight over, is get this guy back home.
Get this guy back home? He is home. And even in the small chance he ever gets out of prison and sets foot on U.S. soil, he's being immediately deported. If Democrats actually cared about the law like they say they do, they wouldn't make a guy their poster child who broke it repeatedly. Hillary's saying, see, I told you Trump's a dictator. Quote, before the election, I warned that there is no safe haven under authoritarianism. If they can ship Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia to a foreign prison accused of no crime with no trial, they can do it to anyone. Pocahontas says, you're next.
Why are they doing this?
Right.
And the answer is they want to have the American people say it's okay to just disappear people. We do not disappear people in the United States. Because here's the thing, if they can disappear Mr. Abrego Garcia, then they can disappear you.
If they can deport an illegal alien MS-13 human trafficker accused of beating his wife twice, they can deport you. You're next. That's the slippriest slope we've ever seen. The country doesn't care where this guy goes. They just want him gone. 89% of Americans support deporting illegals accused of violent crimes. 89%. That means basically the whole country supports deporting Garcia. Not only does Trump have a bad hombre mandate, he just has an hombre mandate. They don't even have to be bad.
Deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
47 says he's just doing his job.
We were inundated by millions of people, many millions of people during the Biden administration. They say 21 million. And a big percentage of those are criminals, serious criminals. I'm not saying just criminals because they came into the border illegally. I'm saying they're criminals at the highest level, murderers. Many of those people murdered more than one person, and they're on the loose. And I was elected to get rid of those criminals, to get them out of our country, or to put them away, but to get them out of our country. And I don't see how judges can take that authority away from a president.
Trump baited Democrats into committing political suicide, standing up for an accused MS-13 domestic abuser. The federal government has designated MS-13 a terrorist organization. So when Democrats fly south to El Salvador to break him out of prison, is that aiding and abetting a known terrorist? That's like Democrats flying to Gitmo during the war on terror and trying to spring loose al-Qaeda. There's no way this ends well for them. This is a fight they can't win. Remember the ad last election where Kamala said she was going to give taxpayer-funded sex change surgeries to illegals in jail? Kamala is for they, them. Trump is for you. Remember that? Republicans are going to run ads before the midterms of Democrats trying to release MS-13 terrorists back into the country. Do the Democrats comprende? Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.